Welcome back. So, in the last video, we pretty much went into how India was set up for pretty much a great, strong middle and late game. We had also met Netherlands, which was the 8th Civ in the game. And if I remember correctly, Netherlands did not go on to have a great game. I think the way those cities spawned, or how Civ spawned on that other landmass, I believe France really came out ahead. I think Spain had pretty much good land. Pedro had good land. Brazil, but I think overall Netherlands did came out on this, got the short end of the stick there. Um, Pretty much the plan for India from this point on was to. I believe I had kept my options for a cultural victory open at this point, and the plan was to push as much as possible. Our religion was strong. We had friends on our continent, and the only real threat to us was Norway to our southwest. And yeah, I'll put the video at 4x now, and probably chime in as and when I see something interesting that I need to explain. Was pretty much getting ready to settle that city um, around the Hulong Bay, and yeah, a bunch of stuff was happening here. This Tromso looked like it was going to flip to me at one point in time. It was in rebellion because Grand Colombia did not have the loyalty to hold on to it. I thought that if I could flip my religion into that city, it might help the city flip to me. But yeah, I think it eventually went back to Norway. Yeah, but there are a bunch of loyalty issues on my borders for the bordering civilizations. Um, it was only a matter of time before Cartagena, the Indias, flipped. Um, and yeah, I mean, I was looking more than anything else. I was looking forward to putting the city down right next to the Yulong Bay. And my religious units were pressuring Canada also at this point, but that really didn't amount to much. I did feel that I needed to scout and try to find more city states around the area. Because I mean, yeah, we were playing barbarian clans, and the one thing, good thing about barbarian clans is like city states will pop up, the city clans will evolve into city states. So making sure that we have exploration kind of top of mind was very very important, because literally, I mean, there were way too many possibilities for like game breakings, city states just pop up, which we could choose. Um, the land south of us was pretty well secure, and yeah, we were well set from this point on to kind of sim away into any of the victory types. I guess the only victory type which was probably not going to happen, or not we would be playing for, is domination. Um, Again, I mean, with India, because we were India, it was probably off the table from the get go. Um, but that's, yeah, that was pretty much it. So, so Mumbai was settled at Hulong Bay, and I pretty much started planning out my districts in the city. Yeah, one thing I've realized, like on watching my own videos, is yeah, I used the charge for, like, I had my apostles with the convert barbarians ability, and yeah, it was purely by chance that I had that ability on one of my apostles, and basically I used that mechanic to clear out the camp. Without it, I probably would have been a few turns delayed before settling it. But yeah, it was fun. By this point in time, Kartikenya had already flipped to us, and Ayutthaya was already flipping independent. Um, and I think Ayutthaya was under pressure even from Canada to be flipping independent. And my plan was to liberate Ayutthaya, to make sure that it is a city state, it turns back into a city state. Um, I don't remember what exactly happened in that sense, but we weren't done with our religious pressure and with converting cities through loyalty. We were far from it. But as far as Mumbai was concerned,
Being a
I pretty
minister,
much
though,
was,
hey, we just go.
but that city was going to become my mausoleum of Elika Nas's city, if I could get it, that is. And basically, it had some really strong locations for preserves, really great locations for a campus, and a bunch of other districts. I could totally push that city to become really tall if I, as long as I had the means to do it, and it would really work out very well. Um, Besides that, I think yeah, we were pretty much antagonizing Norway any way which we can, and we had re-upped our alliances with Canada and Grand Colombia. I mean, by this point in time, I was not at all threatened by Gran Colombia. It was pretty clear that he's going to be a friend for the entire game, and pretty much so is Canada. Um, at this point, I think I set right to yeah. Pedro was also an ally, and I'm not entirely sure if he stayed an ally through the end of the game, but um, yeah, I'm not entirely. I don't remember how the dynamics across the continent, across the in the on the other continent kind of played out. Um, but yeah, but at this point, I was in a very relaxed state where I knew that any kind of victory type I push for or concentrate on is going to be fairly reasonably easy to get to. And yep, uh, that's how this played. So by this point, I had met a lot of city states which I had inadvertently soused just because I'd met them first or because I had envoys in place. And those Sue's abilities were really, really strong. I had allies. I had more allies than I could make use of. And my tall cities were actually very tall and pretty much were building every kind of district they can. However, at this point, now I don't recall this vividly, but I do believe that I had started towards a possible religious victory. Essentially, I had already wiped out Gran Colombia's religion and not really incurred a significant um, uh, grievance penalty for it. I had already, like halfway through, reached out to Canada, and I was making my way towards Norway for to spread my religion. Um, yeah, and it wasn't Pedro who had the final religion. I believe it was either Spain or France who had it, and yeah, they were. It was kind of strong and isolated in the corner. So basically, as soon as I had consolidated my continent, my plan then was to spread religion across. Um, but I'm pretty sure, I don't recall exactly, but I'm pretty sure that did not pan out exactly as I thought. So by now, the world was pretty much divided into two camps. England was sort of like a frenemy towards us pretty much the entire game. There was a period when we were pretty much on the opposite sides, and then there were periods when she had a favorable affect towards us. But pretty much Gran Colombia, India, Canada were very tightly aligned, and essentially allies for the rest of the game. I think Pedro also was. We were allied with Pedro, and I think Pedro was also on very good terms with our allies. Norway, however, was a pretty much an antagonist throughout the rest of the game. So was Spain and Netherlands. In fact, Netherlands at one point in time, I had the opportunity to turn Netherlands into an ally, which never really panned out because she really wanted like trade routes, and it's hard to keep Netherlands a friend when Netherlands is very far away from you. If you can't send her a trade route, there is no chance or little chance that uh, things could turn favorable. And I believe by this time we were close to circumnavigating the planet, also the world. And yeah, just exploring, trying to find all those hidden goodie huts, trying to find camps that could evolve into city states which had evolved from camps, and just basically trying to get a sense of where what the world looked like. Exploration at this point in the game is pretty crucial, especially with Barbarian Clan modes on, and especially if you have like a small continents or a continent style like a wetlands map. Um, there will be lots of island chains, lots of hidden nooks and crannies where camps can spawn, which can effectively evolve into city states. It's really there's a lot of value in trying to find them and get to them all. Yeah, by now we had pretty much started to pressure a lot of loyalty, even to our allies, to Gran Colombia. And in fact, there were these vast, like chunks of continents which were unexplored, which pretty much city states had were controlling them completely. Um, and yeah, we were also very, very close to um, converting all the Norwegian cities to our religion. And yeah, it was pretty much SimCity all the way from this point on.
Me. I'm seeing them. Restoring the health. The relief's got it. I think race improvement. Improvement makes straight go.
About this time, it pretty much was clear that we had the best, like, we had very, very high culture, and a culture victory or pushing towards a culture victory is definitely on the cards. And I believe I was pushing towards it. Um, I know Pingala had was promoted all the way up to curator, and I had a good. I don't think I had as many great works as yet, but I definitely had it. Were on track to add many, many of them as time went on. Um, yeah, and I believe I was. I don't remember if I got it, but I was definitely trying to get the um, Colosseum, which was. I mean, I was shocked to find out that it was available that late in the game, and I saw an opportunity and I started pushing for it. I don't, however, remember if I actually got it. Um, Besides that, I think our science overall was okay. We weren't competing too hard. I think I was still trying to use the Eurekas pretty well in my favor. So I think, like, from a number of decks, we were in the middle of the pack. But from a pure point of view, absolute science production, we were far behind. Um, and yeah, it looks, I mean, Canada, even Grand Colombia, France, Spain, they were all ahead of me by this point. And I think at very soon, maybe if not now, then very clear soon around this time, I pretty much realized that a science victory is not something that's going to play out here. Um, and yeah, and I managed to keep like back to back golden ages going. I don't remember if I. So my theory is simple. If you can get golden ages, definitely try for them. But if it looks like you're headed for a dark age, take the dark age, because a heroic age after a dark age is better, in my opinion, than two back-to-back golden ages. That's just how I try to plan around the era mechanic. Yeah, by this time, Ayutthaya was flipping to us, and we basically were, yeah, pretty much on track to get it. Um, I don't remember, I don't think when Ayutthaya flipped, I kept it as my city. I think I turned it into independent. Um, and I don't think I stayed allied to them for too long because the other civs were competing for city states too. Um, yeah, that was it. By this point, uh, I had explored a large part of the landmass. There were still chunks and pieces to kind of discover and get to. But that happened in good enough time. I was still trying to see if I can get Canada to my religion, and I think it did, but it might did. I think it took a little longer than I expected.
While closing exams and first test colonialism. Then we went to the well, I see everything takes place.
By now, we had pretty much converted all the Canadian cities. I think there was still some stray spots where his religion prevailed, but pretty much without having holy sites in any of the cities which had his religion, it was going to be near impossible for him to come back from that point. Um, and I already started work on the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Was really looking forward to this. Um, and it so it the one regret I had about that spot, it's such a great spot, is if why didn't I like find it sooner? Um, I mean, always like a wonder spot or a there are good city spots all over the map, right? But they don't mean anything unless you can put a settle in as soon as possible. um, which is why, I mean, getting early settlers is so important.
Claims that cannot be
If you
tested.
get late settlers, your
Assertions immune to
capital
disproof.
better be
Are
really
veritatively
strong
worthless. Whatever value they may have in inspiring
from
us
what it has,
or exciting our
from a
sense
growth
of wonder.
standpoint, and the amenities and the total tile quality. Because if you run into a spot like that Yolong Bay spot, settling that earlier, even 10 turns earlier than when you do, is going to mean the difference between like victory at a certain turn or 10 turns before. It's just that much important.
A vast tomb lies over me. War is hell. lowest. Not painful.
About this point in the game, we were actually catching up on science, making pretty much catching up to the rest of the world in like the text that we had, and also like was really laser focused on trying to make Mumbai a really strong city. Yeah, there were a bunch of luxuries, and having gotten the Muslim of Halicarnassus, it was definitely going to shape up to be a really strong city. Right about this time, France and Netherlands declared a joint war against us. I'm not entirely sure what triggered it. We had our allies in the war too, um, but basically, I'm guessing at some point it was just a power play to to essentially begin to weaken us. But it did not have the desired effect really, um, because I mean our overall game was pretty much had reached a point where um, it was going to be very hard to shake India off any victory path that it chooses. Right about this time too, really, I was like, although cultural victory seemed like the most logical way to go, just because how our neighborly, like our other relationships with the other civilizations was, it looked likely that it'll be hard to get the usual tourism boosters that are available to us. Many of them are things like like having trade routes to different civilizations gives you a boost for tourism. Having open borders with them gives you a boost for tourism. Pretty much those things were off the table for us. And really, from our point of view, I mean, I saw this as an opportunity to kind of have the war or use the advantage of the war in a defensive posture, kind of pillage, cripple some of the lands that we see, and it can affect. And that's pretty much how I decided to play this going forward. Um, the Yeah, and I believe we were very close to um, basically a back-to-back golden age also, which meant that really we were only going to be stronger. I had a fair share of uh, uh, the campuses in this land, and I was definitely considering Heartbeat of Steam at this point in time, because Heartbeat of Steam gives you production along with the adjacency, the science adjacency that you normally see. Um, and yeah, it was pretty much it was pretty good going from this point on.
All the lands found the I think that's the creation. Let's get on these. There is one.
From my point of view, the war was going pretty well. Because I mean, our ambition, our aim was never to conquer those cities or kind of do anything crazy there. But the aim of the game really was pretty much just to cripple France, because France was like maybe 100 turns ago. France was probably close to being a tech leader and possibly even a culture leader. And the kind of villages that we ended up putting in through from of the privateer on the eastern borders of France pretty much guaranteed that we will be crippling them
The
significantly.
effects of the mass media.
Um, at this point, I'm pretty sure I started taking a look at what my culture situation is. And I believe I did use this opportunity to buy some, well, basically to secure my amenities, really. And once that was done, the just try to get pick up any great works, because I had a lot of slots which had been inactive. I wasn't as lucky as in other games to get a lot of great people. So essentially, I resorted to buying them from the AI, at least the ones that were trading with us. Um, Having like and the option to have themed museums and stuff opened up the door to eventually cultural
Economics
heritage
is a
sites,
subject
which
that
could give us more tourism downstream down later in the game. Uh, the At this point, I still think that science and or culture were viable, but culture, I believe, was always going to be hard because we wouldn't really have the kind of multipliers that ordinarily we could get from. open borders and from essentially sending trade routes to different civilizations. Um, yeah, and besides that, I still continued exploring, making sure that I have. I mean, I try to find as many civilizations I can, so rather city states rather, because I'm pretty sure there were more on there to actually find out. And yeah, the village train was pretty strong overall, and I I know I was on the way to ideologies at some point, and pretty much democracy was going to be the logical choice there. I don't honestly remember whether I picked that or whether I went for communism for the straight science. Um, but overall, yeah, I mean, it did we work out in the end pretty well. Our main, like the area around Delhi, like our land, our empire around the capital, we pretty much were focused on simming through the.
Retreat.
Getting to suffrage essentially was very important because we made it. We picked democracy, and yeah, along with New Deal to help our cities grow stronger and keep them happier, and the extra diplomatic policy slot really helped us square away a lot of things. Um, yeah, I mean, pretty much we focused on production and science and city-state benefits was the name of the game. We also captured like a stray settler along the way. Not sure what I did with him, but I did settle something in the immediate vicinity. Don't recall exactly which spot it was, but it was somewhere out north of where France was situated. And really, I mean, I think the game ended before that city could build anything important. That's how late the settle was, kind of inconsequential. And really, it was more of a thinking of, hey, if there is any era score from a new continent settle, that'll be it. Or if there are any strategics in that area that I don't have access to, that'll actually help too. Um, but yeah, but from this point on, like the culture victory push was definitely the main thought process for me, and I was heading down cultural heritage sites, trying to get there, trying to get the policy cards to with the multipliers, and we finally had our few great artists and great engineers, um, great artists and great writers spawn, and yeah, had a decent number of great people in the game. And then the yeah, I mean, at some point, um, I'm not entirely sure when we pieced out France and Netherlands, but it happened pretty close to this point. I think they were the one who I believe offered me. I don't think it was white peace, but it was basically. Um, I think it was a lot. I mean, we had pretty much plundered that entire coastline on the eastern seaboard for France. Um, Although France had beaten us to some good wonders that I believe if I had not outright tried for them, I'd definitely um, considered them. But we lost out to them, lost out to France in that case. And France overall, like just on how France plays, whether it's Eleanor or Catherine, um, they tend to be cultural powerhouses, anyways, just by the nature of what France is. Um, and it was always going to be a challenge trying to keep up with their culture and to essentially surpass their culture with our tourism. But until then, all I was doing was keeping the area around Brussels clear. France was making a play for Brussels at some point, and but it wasn't going to work. But she kept throwing units at it, and I had to keep my navy in that area to make sure nothing doesn't happen. Um, And yeah, I was get trying to get Christo. Now, if memory serves me right, I did not. Um, uh, I don't remember if I got it. I was one turned on a few wonders this game, if I recollect this. But it's been so long ago, I don't recall. Regardless, I mean, we were trying to get Cristo Redentor. And yeah, I had Gustav Eiffel build it, or at least speed along the production for that. And I'm pretty sure, I want to say that I lost it, like, and I had the opportunity to actually board that charge. Um, but yeah, but besides that, all I was doing was collecting tribal huts all over the map. There was still some.
Destroying rainforest.
And by this point, we had like almost 80-90% of the map explored. And I was pretty. It was reasonable to expect from this point on that I may not find any more city states or even camps that could actually evolve into them. Well, the AI had done a decent job, except for a few like land masses where there were literally no signs of life, except for barbarians and some few city states. The AI had pretty much saturated like cities and taken over land that it could reasonably control. It had already happened. By this time, even like the Norwegian, like a 10 pop Norwegian city next to us was about to flip independent, and most likely it did flip to us eventually, but I'm not sure if it mattered in the grand scheme of things. Um, and yeah, and I was pretty much focused on making sure that my basics, my faith, my science, my culture continues to grow and stay high. We were very close to being we were definitely culture leaders at this point, but I'm pretty sure we were close to being tech leaders also around this period. Don't recall exactly when those metrics actually hit, but it happened soon at this point. Yeah, it's funny how you misremember things. I believe this is one of those games where I tried for Cristo Redentor and I actually got it. Before, I don't know why, I just kept thinking to myself that this was the game in which I did not get it. But yeah, but we got it this game. We basically were pretty much managed to theme a lot of other great works in our lands. By this point, the war the war with France had ended, and they had. I'm not sure what the peace terms were, but we came out ahead. The same thing with Netherlands, and really making peace with them opened up the opportunity to start trading with them again, which makes overall it would make the push for culture victory a little easier. But that's where we stood at this point in time, and yeah, this video is close to an hour now, and I'm going to call this one. The Yeah, this is a good spot, the time to put an end marker on this one. The next video will most likely be the last one in this for this game. Um, maybe even much shorter because pretty much the main surprise or the climax or the reveal of the next video is really going to be what victory type did we actually end up with. And I believe both culture and science were very, very viable victories, which could have either of them could have happened given their own pushes. But yeah, clearly only one victory is possible. Yeah, but the next one's going to be the last one. Thank you for watching, and definitely see the next one. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like and subscribe for updates on my games. And if you're already subscribed, my heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you.